Welcome to Girl, Relax, and Trust God, a faith-based podcast for women ready to reclaim their peace and joy by trusting in God's plan. This is for women who struggle with overthinking, busyness, perfectionism, and the stress from carrying a heavy mental load because of all of her responsibilities. She's often the one that gives the advice and the listening ear. She is the definition of strength. She shows up for everyone and everything with care and concern and wants the same reciprocated. Each week, we will discuss real-life topics, share real stories, and deep dive into scriptures to help strengthen your faith. Remember, you are seen, you are loved, and with God by your side, you can truly relax and trust the path He has for you. If this resonates with you, join me, your host, Janique Price, on this journey of reclaiming your peace and joy by trusting God to see you through it all. This is Girl, Relax, and Trust God. Hello, and welcome back to Girl, Relax, and Trust God, a podcast for women ready to reclaim their peace and joy by trusting in God's plan. I'm your host, Janique Price, and I hope you all are well and that this week is off to a great start. Today is not your typical episode. It is a lot shorter than a normal episode because it is a bonus episode. I cannot believe that season 2 is coming to an end. For my first season, I went about 10 episodes. This season, I'm going for 12. So next week is the finale of this season, and I'm going to take a little break just to regroup before coming back with season 3. So this episode today is going to be short, like I just said, and I'm thinking about making it a bonus series. I got the idea of just sharing just some downloads that I've been receiving from God for the week. So this series is called What God Showed Me This Week. And it's just going to be like quick reflections about something this week that I've encountered during my quiet time or during my journaling time or just like walking down the street. And it's just like, oh, okay, I should talk about that. Some of these episodes may turn into longer episodes in future seasons. But as of right now, and I don't know how many I'm going to do, but I'm starting with one. So I'm just going to stay right here. But they're going to be quick reflections, again, of some of the messages and things that I've received just from my quiet time with God. So this week has been a week of taking action. I actually want to say the last few weeks, and there have been some things that I've been praying about regarding my business. You all know I have an educational consulting business, things regarding this podcast, new business ideas, just my creativity in general, and so much more. And for most of my adult life, I can admit this now that I've been trying to be the person to orchestrate my every move. Or I thought I was. And it was just me really trying to take control. And what I'm realizing now, it was just me walking ahead of God instead of walking with God. And I've been really intentional about walking with God and being in alignment. I know I speak about that a lot because as a high achiever and type A personality person, I always have my goals and my to-do list and my checklist. And often it's just what I wanted and where I felt I should be and what I should do. And really not in partnership or walking with God. So this week and over the last few weeks, I've been like in step with God. And it feels rejuvenating, but weird. And I know that I've been in step with Him because I felt just so much peace around certain decisions that I've been making. And peace is just confirmation that you are in step with God. I'm going to say that again. Peace is just confirmation that you are in step with God. And I haven't been overthinking so much and procrastinating. which I used to do, my overthinking and my procrastination, that was just disobedience. I'm just gonna call it what it is because it led to me not taking action or just my inaction until I felt that I was ready. I was always waiting for the right time or my time instead of moving when God has told me to move. And I know that I've talked about that before. I've been very transparent around me delaying moving because of my own desires or because I wanted to prove something to whomever and not following God's instructions. So the other day when I was in San Diego, I was journaling and I was like, okay, God, I feel like I'm ready. And I was just like, wait, what? I don't know. I just got convicted a little bit and I stopped and I'm like, hmm. And I stopped. We're gonna come back to that in a second. But I stopped and I was just like, am I doing this or taking action because I feel ready? Or am I doing this because I know that God has equipped me to do this and I'm moving because He told me to move and that He's prepared me for whatever phase or level that He's taking me to? So I really had to like stop and think to see like, okay, is it me? Is this me centered? Is this about Janique? Or is this where God is calling me to go? So I had to quickly like check my heart posture, check my just check my heart. Go back and listen to last week's episode. I will link that in and check my heart and check my motives because most of the time I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. And I delay myself or I delay my action. But now it's like, oh, I feel ready. And I'm like, is this a feeling that God wants me to feel? Or is this just me speaking out of my own human nature? So, what I literally did, and if you have been listening since season one, I didn't really talk about this framework too much in season two, maybe at the beginning, but definitely in season one. I just used my stop framework. So, I literally stopped. Stop, take a breath, observe, pray, and proceed. That is the framework that I shared in season one. And um, when I did that, I prayed that I would walk in alignment with God and not just in my own desires because there are a lot of things that I want. And I'm like, okay, I want these, but is this what God wants for me? And so, again, checking my heart and trying to figure out like, is this a Janique idea or is this a God idea? Like trying to remove myself out of the equation, again, to make sure that I'm in alignment and I'm not out of step and just creating overwhelm and stress and anxiety and burnout for myself when this is not what God told me to do. So, what I did, like, after I was reflecting and journaling, um, I just did a simple prayer. And it was, God, you've ordered my steps. Allow me to follow where you lead me. And that was it. Just like, allow me to follow where you lead me. So, it's not about me. Allow me to follow where you lead me. So I have to be in tune with Him and in step with Him in order for me to follow, in order for me to follow the steps that He has ordered for me. So normally I'll be overwhelmed with my overthinking. I do that a lot. But the level of peace that I have been feeling, it's just been like a little crazy. I'm like, wow, there's like not a, a bit of anxiousness about what I've been praying about and the action that I have been taking. And over the last few weeks, I'm going to talk about this more next week, but I've been battling it out with these powers and principalities that Paul wrote about in Ephesians. Like I've been I've been just dealing with some stuff and still just having that peace when it comes to taking next steps based on things that I've prayed for. I was just like, wow, like, all right, God, I hear you. And we know the verse in Ephesians. If we don't, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it from the New King James Version. And it reads, For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. And so with all the things that I have been experiencing, spiritually, with the peace that surpasses my understanding, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm under attack. And there's a reason. And I have to just continue to pray and then proceed. I have to keep moving. I can't stop. I can't, I can't let what I'm experiencing spiritually, um, prevent me from moving in the direction that God wants me to move. Because we know that when it comes to spiritual warfare, it's a distraction from Satan to try to get you to not do the things that God wants you to do, for you to not be obedient, because he knows that we are dangerous, that we are going to share the gospel, that we're going to share the word, that we're going to bring hope and encouragement. And of course, that's not what he wants on this earth. So I took a moment to stop and observe what I was feeling, again, to ensure that I was aligned with God. And I prayed, and I just had to proceed. And when it comes to proceeding, it's just the things that I've been putting off for a long time, I finally did. And so this episode is just to remind you to stop, take a breath, observe, pray, and proceed. And again, the action that I took over the last few weeks, even this week, there have been things that I have been trying to do for quite a while. And I've just been avoiding it or putting it off, or saying, this is not the right time, or I don't know what to do. Nope. And I just felt so relieved. I felt so relieved. So not only did I have to check myself to make sure that I was in alignment with God so that I wouldn't procrastinate, I also didn't want to move in haste, because I am known from going from 0 to 100 real quick. And my pacing can be way, 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 way off. And sometimes if I'm not moving too slow, I'm moving too fast. It's like I get an idea and I'm like, yes, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And I just jump right in, and I jump ahead of God. So sometimes I just like, you know what? I'm just going to wait, God, and until I feel I'm ready. Or, you know what? God, I feel like I'm ready and you're taking too long, so I'm just going to move anyway. So these are things like when it comes to observing, like your attitude, your heart posture, your motives, that's all in the observe phase. Like, what is really going on? Why do I want this? Is this something that is in alignment with you, God? Like, really observe, again, your actions, your thoughts, your motives, why you're delaying, your obedience, why you're moving ahead of God, just to get back into alignment. So for me, this week has really been a Lord, your will be done moment for me. And I know that this is going to look different for each person. But again, I want to encourage you to just stop. Again, stop, take a breath, observe, pray, and proceed. And just to reflect on this question, what have you been asking God for lately, or even in the past few years, and you're unsure of what to do and how to move? I want you to reflect on that. Again, what have you been asking God for lately, or even in the past few years, and you're unsure of what to do and how to move? So spend time with God in prayer and in His Word, asking Him for His guidance. And when He reveals your next step, you have to proceed. You have to proceed. Don't move based on your own timing. Remember, it is God's timing. You know how He speaks to you. Make sure that you communicate with Him, you pray, that you read your word, that you journal, and so you can hear His voice. So here are the takeaways. I said this episode was going to be short. It's about to be like 17 minutes, which is shorter than normal. But here are some takeaways. And the first takeaway is obedience doesn't always feel like readiness. Obedience doesn't always feel like readiness. You may not feel ready, but if God has called you to move, it's time to trust that He's equipped you to move. Again, you may not feel ready to move, but if God has called you to move, it's time to trust that He's already equipped you. The second takeaway is peace is confirmation. Peace is confirmation. When you walk in alignment with God, you'll often experience peace, even in the face of spiritual resistance and spiritual warfare. Again, peace is confirmation. When you walk in alignment with God, you'll often experience peace, even in the face of spiritual resistance and spiritual warfare. The third takeaway: delayed obedience is still disobedience. So stop waiting for the perfect conditions or the perfect timing. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions and the perfect timing. Faith sometimes means moving before everything makes sense. And not sometimes, all the time. Faith means moving before everything makes sense. So remember, delayed obedience is still disobedience. And the last takeaway: don't move in haste, but don't stay stuck either. Don't move in haste, but don't stay stuck either. So there's a difference between moving in fear and there's a difference between moving in faith. So just make sure that you are walking with God and not ahead of Him. Check your heart. Again, check your heart and make sure that you are walking with God and not ahead of Him. So your homework is to take 10 minutes to connect with God and use the STOPP framework and just see how the Spirit moves you. 10 minutes, connect with God and use the STOPP framework and see how the Spirit moves you. So that's 10 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of journaling, a combination of all three together. Within the 10 minutes, just take 10 minutes to connect with God. Thank you for listening. I hope this bonus episode has blessed you and encouraged you to stop and connect with God. If you know someone that needs to hear this message, please share it with them. And also leave a rating and a review on all the platforms where you listen to this podcast. And until next time, girl, relax and trust God.